Happy New Year. Yes, Jesus was an anarchist, and you probably are too. And if you give me a few moments of your time, I will explain. First off, what is anarchy? It is not chaos. The idea that anarchy is chaos is an obfuscation that the people who are in positions of power they propagate this idea. But no, anarchy is not chaos. Anarchy is best understood by knowing its opposite. The opposite of anarchy is hierarchy. Those are the two opposing social dynamics in this particular dialectic. Anarchy and hierarchy. Anarchy is the absence of hierarchy. Hierarchy is a system where someone can tell you to do something that you don't want to do, and in fact you know to be wrong. This is why Jesus at his core was an anarchist. And I'll go into this further. Jesus was trying to, at the time of his life, in the 2,000 years ago, yes, there was a highly sophisticated state in existence, the Roman Empire. With that said, though, even the Roman Empire was a form of theocracy. In fact, Julius Caesar was also they call it Pontifex Maximus, I believe that's the term, which just means he was the Pope. And this was the prevailing system throughout the world. Was every country was a theocracy. And so in a theocracy, you have to say what you don't believe, basically. And you have to conform, and in many ways, many times to conform to any society, particularly a theocratic one, you have to do things that you know to be wrong, because people who are above you in the hierarchy are telling you to do them and coercing you to do them. What Jesus was advocating was a system, a society, where a system of anarchy without hierarchy, a system where people were not told what to do by the powers that be. They followed their own guiding light. And that's what Jesus meant when he said that the meek shall inherit the earth. Who are the meek? The meek are people who refuse to prey on others. Pretty simple. And if everyone in the world refused to prey on others, there would be no justification for all of these oppressive systems that do exist. The police state, the military, an aggressive judiciary, an overextended legislative branch, which is imprisoning people en masse. If there is no chaos to justify these systems of hierarchy, then we can do away with them before they even exist. And with that in mind, if our ill deeds, if the bad things we do justify the existence of a parental, godlike state, then how do we discredit that state? We as a society, and of course this is a very lofty goal, these are all things, concepts that are conceptualized in their ideal forms, but in this system, people's goodness and the lack of chaos, the absence of chaos, completely discredits the power structures. They have no reason to exist. So yes, Jesus was an anarchist. He was saying, in my last video, he was a great example of Jesus being an anarchist. In my last video, I discussed the Christmas truce of 1914 and how all of these soldiers on the Western Front in 1914 ignored the orders of the higher-ups and stopped killing one another, and who insisted that they continue killing the higher-ups. That was the way it was throughout the entire war. The French had multiple mutinies throughout the war, and every time, ringleaders were killed, forgive the air quotes. Ringleaders were killed, and the soldiers were forced to continue the slaughter. In fact, the only reason that World War I ended, I'll bring this up in another video, the only reason World War I ended was because the soldiers stopped fighting. There was a mutiny in Königsberg in the Soviet Union, well, Russia, which became the Soviet Union, which stopped their participation, ended their participation in the war. And there was also a mutiny at Wilhelmshaven in Germany, where the soldiers, the sailors said, we're not doing this anymore. They allied with the workers who said, we are not doing this anymore. And it was the people who stopped the killing in World War I. The history books don't talk about that. They say, oh, they glossed that over. No, it was the people, the lower, forgive the air quotes, the lower classes who said, we're not doing this anymore. This is crazy. And it was the upper classes that said, you better keep doing it. And it was only once the people rebelled, revolted, after years of centuries of slaughter, that this stopped. So, the rejection of hierarchy ended that slaughter. And then if you look at the continuation of that period of history into World War II, what restarted the slaughter is when people abdicated and surrendered their own sense of morality to an external force. They no longer followed that guiding light within themselves that said, hey, this is wrong. This is evil. No, they ignored that and said, tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. Give me a place in the pecking order, a higher place, middle management maybe, you know? And they were willing to do horrible things just for, some validation. So, if you're the kind of person who thinks that you should not be told what to do when it is in violation of your own innate sense of morality, then congratulations, you're an anarchist. If you think that there should not be any generals or priests or presidents who can tell you to do something against the interests of yourself and your community and your species, congratulations, you are an anarchist. If you think that the world will be better with fewer positions of power, not just people in positions of power, but fewer positions of power to the point where there are almost none, and that systems of cooperation should be what should run the factories and all that, and the supply chains of the world. If you think that that would be a better system than a pyramidical social structure that sucks everything to the top and does a very poor job of distributing everything, most of all knowledge, to the people, then congratulations, you are an anarchist. And particularly people who subscribe to libertarianism, libertarians are anarchists. They don't, it's not discussed because the term anarchy is become almost passe. A bunch of New York beatniks kind of discredited it in the 1950s. But no, anarchy as as an ideal is much more widespread than people even believe. And truth be told, I've passed over some things in this. It's such a complicated, profound realization that I'm probably going to have to revisit this subject in later videos. But yeah, I wanted to get something out for y'all on the new year, and continue the conversation. I don't like to put too much time or allow too much time to elapse between videos, because I don't like to lose people's interest, of course, or lose my own interest. But on the other hand, I don't just want to put out content. If it's not worth publishing, then I don't even consider it. Yeah. Join me next time. We'll keep talking. Please tell me what you think in the comments below. And have a good new year.